Hey everyone, it's Annie and welcome back to my channel. So today I figured I would start a new series on my channel where I go over the books that I have read that month. So this one will be for July. I know I'm a few days late, but I figure, better late than never. I'm really excited. I think this is gonna be a fun little series where I get to just talk about books, and then like in the comments, you guys can talk about books, your favorites, what you read this month, your thoughts on books I read this month, and we can all just kind of have like a little fun book chat. So if that sounds like something you guys are interested in, let's go ahead and jump right on into the video. All right, so these are in no particular order. Like I cannot remember what I read when, sort of a thing, but I read all these in July. So the first one I actually went over in my July favorites video. So I'm not gonna go over too much in this one because I talk about it in that. So check that out if you want like more info. But that is The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This is her newest mystery, and it's the type of like her type of mystery, like murder mystery, where it's like a dual storyline, but it's the same story, dual timeline sort of a thing. So it's like the night or week leading up to the event and then the day after the event sort of thing are like being told side by side and like chapter by chapter sort of a thing. It makes sense if you read her books, you'd understand. But it's so good. This one was so good. It outlines like the opening weekend of the Manor, which is this luxury resort, and it goes into like the past of the woman who's opening the resort, as well as like, an old friend who disguises herself for the opening weekend so she can kind of like expose issues of the past sort of a thing. And then I think it has a 4-character perspective, because that's what her stories do too. It's like each character is like a suspect, so you see things from their perspectives. It all builds on each other. It's super fascinating. And like, someone is dead because that's the format of her books, but you don't know who is dead. So the whole time you're trying to figure out who killed who, but also who is dead. So it's super fascinating, very mind kinds of books. Like I love reading her style. The Guest List, the Hunting Party, what is the other one? The Paris Apartment. All of those are in that same kind of realm of murder mystery of hers. Absolutely love them. They're some of my favorite books to read because I never guess the twist. I never guess who's done it. I never even guess like who died. It takes me a long time to figure that out, but it's just phenomenal. If you like Lucy Foley's writing, you're gonna love this one too. If you're in the mood for like a really good murder mystery, this is so good. Highly recommend. So up next is The Inheritance Games from Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So a while back, I think it's the 4th one, is called The Brothers Hawthorne. That one came out and I would see it all over the bookstores, and it always sounded so fascinating, but I knew it wasn't the first in a series. So I finally committed to getting the first in the series, and it was so worth it. It's got so many like puzzles and riddles in it, but it's also got like a rags to riches kind of vibe, because the main character Avery starts off in a very poor situation. She lives with her sister some of the time, but she also like lives out of her car, and she's trying to get through high school so she can go to college and like make something of herself essentially. But out of the blue, one of the Hawthorne brothers comes and is like, hey, you're in the will of my grandfather, who's this multi-billionaire, has this huge empire, and no one knows why she's in the will. So it's trying to figure out why she's in the will, and she inherits a decent chunk of money. I won't give away how much, but it's enough to, change a person's life forever. And so they're trying to figure out why she's in the will, but also each brother got a letter from the grandfather, and it's like it leads into puzzles and riddles, and just it's so fascinating. It was so much fun. Like halfway through reading this, I immediately went on Amazon and bought the next 2 because I enjoyed it so thoroughly. Like I said, it's a very like puzzle focused, but there's also, like I said, rags to riches. there's like the smidgest bit of romance because she starts to kind of adapt feelings for a couple of the brothers, but not enough to say like, oh my gosh, this is such a romantic book or anything. It's just kind of woven in just little snippets. But overall, really, really good. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I immediately bought the next two so I can continue the series. I'm really loving this. So these next three are in a series, so I'm just gonna include them all at once. But that is the Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, and We'll Always Have Summer. These are by Jenny Han, I believe. Yes, Jenny Han. She's the one who wrote the To All the Boys I Loved Before. These were fun. The first one was probably my favorite because it is just like a teenager. She's finally like kind of come into her own a little bit. She's not so gangly, awkward, how we all were going through the teenage years. She's finally like kind of stepping into herself, and she goes to this summer house with her mom, her brother, her mom's best friend, and her two sons. And then like the dads will kind of pop in every so often, but it's mainly those six characters. Yes, those six characters. And she kind of starts to develop feelings, or she's always had a thing for the older brother of the other family. And she kind of, it pieces together that a little bit. She's got a bit of a crush. And then she also kind of like has a little bit of feelings for the other brother. But honestly, it was just like a really fun, summery, beachy kind of read. There are a couple more like serious topics woven in that if I tell you, it'll kind of spoil it. But if you've seen, I think, is it Netflix that has a series of the first book? If you've seen that, then obviously you know what happens. But the first one was my favorite for that. The second one, it was fine. It kind of details like what happens obviously after the first one. There's a death in the family, to not spoil who it is. So it's like dealing with each character mourning that death, but also, I don't know, it's a trickier one to describe without like telling everything that happens, but she still has feelings for one of the brothers, but then the other one kind of like takes over a little bit more, and then the third one, she's gonna get married to one of the brothers, so it's like going over wedding planning stuff, and like her mom isn't super thrilled because they're so young, and just stuff like that. Like I said, the first one was more my vibe. It was more of like a fun, beachy summer read. The other two weren't as good in my opinion, but overall a really fun, beachy, summery kind of series. The kind of thing I'll probably pick these up again next year, and just, they're really obviously very simple, easy reads. There's a little bit of like a romance factor, but nothing that's like too intense or, graphic or anything. They're YA novels, so there's no weird stuff happening, which is fine. I love that. I love that they're mellow like that. But really fun. Like I said, the first was my favorite. The other two were just fine. And these next two I talked about again in my July favorites video, so I won't give too much detail. But that is It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us from Colleen Hoover. Of course, I think the movie came out today. Either today or yesterday, the movie came out, so like hit theaters. I'll probably go see it at some point or just wait until it hits like Amazon and watch it at home. But they were really fun. Not fun necessarily. They were a really good read. I was very interested in them, I should say. There's, the romance factor, but there's also like an abusive partner. So there's that component, but then it also has like her past and present kind of like coincide because the main character, Lily, comes from an abusive home, or like the father towards the mother sort of thing. So it was super fascinating. I really enjoyed reading them, not because they were fun. They were not fun reads by any means. It was a lot to read at times. And then the second one picks up straight off from where the first one finished up, where I can't give away too much information, but she has a major life change, I should say. And so it kind of is how she navigates that major life change, what that means for her relationships, all of that sort of stuff. So really good, very like definitely, trigger warning type books for sure. Definitely be aware of that. But I did enjoy them. I found them to be enjoyable, of course. I'm rambling, you guys. I'm rambling. I'm not used to talking about books, so I just kind of ramble when I do because I love to talk about books. But anyway, really enjoyed these. I would definitely read them again, probably a year or two down the line. It's not the kind of thing I would like immediately pick back up. Now this next one is just like the epitome of a beach read. It was just a fun book, and that is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I do also have beach read and then funny story. I haven't read funny story yet. I'm excited to read that at some point, but I did read this one this past month, and it's just a fun read. So there's two main characters, or I guess Poppy is like the main character, and then Alex is like the secondary main character, like the love interest type of character. But the two of them have been best friends since college, and every year in the summer, they try to go on a week-long vacation together. So initially it was just like the cheapest of cheap, whatever they could scrounge together, you know, struggling college kids trying to go on a vacation, just have some fun. They became like pros at finding inexpensive locations, vacations, places to stay, all that. They were like real good at it, to the point where Poppy made that her career. Like she had, I believe it was an Instagram account or a blog or something, where she detailed like how to vacation on a budget type things. And that got her noticed by like this publishing company for a magazine, and she ended up working for them. So she got to go on these more extravagant vacations. She would go to like Iceland and all these fancy places. So she kind of lost the core of vacationing on a budget, but her whole job was vacation and travel. So there was that. And something happened between the two of them, and it gets into it later in the book, but it's woven into the story. Something happened 2 years ago to like current day in the book, and the two of them aren't talking. They haven't talked for 2 years. Out of the blue, Poppy is like, I want to see if I can fix this. So she texts Alex, and they go on a vacation together. And so it kind of jumps timelines to build up the story. So you've got the current day, week-long vacation, but then you've also got like snippets from vacations past leading up to the 2 year ago vacation and what went down. And it's fun. I love the like jumps in perspective, jumps in timeline sort of thing. It took me a second to catch on sometimes, because let's see if I can find a chapter heading. It would just say like this summer or 2 years ago summer or whatever. And sometimes I don't read the chapter headings. So it took me a sec to catch on when we would jump timelines. But it was really fun. You know, there's the romance factor. It was a fun read. Definitely like hop on, like chill at the beach, like a rainy day in the summer. It was a really fun summer type read. Now this next one, it was fun. I was excited to read it. I read it in like a day sort of a thing, but that is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I think it's Poston or Poston. I'm not positive, but this was so fun. It's a retelling of Cinderella with this like Comic-Con kind of perspective. The main character, Elle, loves this old science fiction TV series. She used to like watch it with her father. They would like, it was their bonding activity. He set up this whole, I think they called it Excelsicon or something like that, but it was a convention for this series. Like he founded it and built it up from nothing. And it became this huge con, but of course he eventually passes away after remarrying. So she's got the stepmother, the stepsisters, the whole vibe. And it's fun. It was fun to read a retelling of a Cinderella story, but that whole science fiction Comic-Con aspect, it was just fun. It was different. It was a cool concept. I ended up picking up the other two as well. Bookish and the Beast, as well as Princess and the Fangirl, I think. So there's like Princess and the Frog and Beauty and the Beast. I'm really excited to read them. I think they're just gonna be so fun. I love retelling of fairy tales so much, like the whole Cinder series. I can't remember the other names of the books. There's Cinder, Scarlet, and then something else. Those were so fun. I read those years and years ago, but just anytime there's like a retelling of a fairy tale, I love it. I'm all about that. So I'm super excited to read the next two. Apparently this month I was just like starting a bunch of series and didn't quite finish them, but this was really fun. Definitely, it was just enjoyable. Even as someone who's not like the biggest science fiction type of person, I found it to be really fun. So then apparently this was like the month of Ashley Poston because I read 2 more books by her. So I read The 7-Year Slip as well as A Novel Love Story. And these kinds of books, these two as well as The Dead Romantics, have like a magical realism sort of vibe to them. So for instance, The 7-Year Slip, the main character Clementine inherits her aunt's apartment, but sometimes the apartment will like dip back 7 years in the past. So like whoever lived there 7 years ago might pop in, or just like the furniture will be from 7 years ago sort of thing. Like it'll do that every so often, but only in the apartment. Like once you step foot out the door, it's present day sort of thing. So when the apartment goes 7 years in the past for Clementine, her aunt had a friend. The friend had a son. The son was staying there for the summer. His name is Iwan, I-W-A-N, however you pronounce that. So she sees him every so often, and she kind of starts to fall for him, and there's the whole romance, fun little aspect like that. It was just a really fun read. Like all of her books are really fun. I really enjoy all of her writing. Like I loved Dead Romantics, I loved these two, and for A Novel Love Story, which is her most recent, this just came out this summer. In this one, the main character, Elsie, is driving to this cabin where her book club meets every summer. They meet for a week, they read, they drink wine, they have fun. Like it's just a week for them to all kind of catch up because they all live all over the country sort of a thing. But this is the only year where she's the only one that can make it, and she's trying to get over a really hard breakup with her ex-fiance. So she thinks it'll be really good to just get away for a week, just be by herself. And on her way, her car ends up breaking down in this magical little town that ends up being the town from her favorite series of books. Like it is the series, like the characters are the people in the town, and it's wild to her. So she literally drives into a book essentially, and she meets this man. His name is Anders or Anderson or Andy. They call him all three all throughout the book. Anders, Anderson, Andy. She meets him, and he's, classic grumpy main character kind of a guy. And she starts falling for him. And then she's like, well, he's a character out of a book, so there's no chance for us. And it's so fun. She gets to interact with the characters, and she's like kind of switching up what happened in the books, like meddling in their lives sort of a thing. Really, really fun. Like I said, I just love her writing style. I love the concepts she comes up with. Like Dead Romantics was really, really fun too. I know I keep bringing that up, but that's like in the same realm as these two. In fact, the main male character from that one makes appearances in these two books, and then the main female character makes an appearance in this one. So it's like they're all kind of like interconnected. It's really fun, but it's not like you're following the same characters sort of a thing. But regardless, I love all of her stuff so far that I've read. Even like this, like Geekerella, she just takes concepts that are like different and fun or well-known concepts and just like makes them her own, and it's really fun. I haven't read a book from her that I have not liked, and I'm so excited to just keep finding more from her. If you guys have any recommendations from Ashley Poston that I haven't mentioned already, let me know down below, because I'm loving her stuff. So last but not least, I figure I'll go over the book that I'm reading right now. So that is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehrer by Hannah Nicole. This is my second time reading it because the second one just came out. I just got it in the mail yesterday, so I'm rereading this to just like get myself back in the realm of the story and to pick up all the little snippets that will come up in the second book. It's so good. It's so fun. There's the two main characters. You've got the villain, and then you've got Evie, and she's your classic like bumbling, quirky main character, and she literally stumbles into employment for the villain, who's a notorious villain. And it's really fun. It's got little fantasy snippets because he's got magic. There's like a frog character that has like, where is he? He like has little signs that he like writes up, and he wears a crown. He's really fun. And there's magical elements all throughout. It's just so good. There's a dragon too, so like literally fantasy, but it's just so good. I really enjoy this one. And the part I'm at right now is like, there was an attempt on the villain's life, like there was a bomb in his office sort of a thing, and so they're trying to figure out who made the bomb, who planted the bomb. There's someone that keeps like leaking information, so anytime they try and like, you know, steal stuff from the king's guards, they're getting caught, people are getting killed, you know, all that fun stuff. So right now they're trying to figure out like, how is that happening? Who's the snitch, sort of a thing. But obviously I know who the snitch is because I've already read it. But it's so fun to reread a book that you really love. I read this maybe a year ago, so it's not like fresh on the brain, but it's still like, it's just so fun. I really enjoy this one. If you guys have read this, or if you're reading the second one, let me know down below. Is the second one as good as the first? I cannot wait to start it. I obviously still have a ways to go with the first one, but like, oh, they're so good. All right, you guys, that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave me a like and a comment below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.